What's going on YouTube? Cardfight King here. So today, guys, I wanted to bring you my BT11 deck profile for traditional Beelstar. I This is just a traditional version of Beelstar. You know, the first version I was kind of going into the BT11 format with. I know there is another version that I'm working on with my teammates featuring Mervamon, and that's been testing very, very well into the BT11 meta. Just got to definitely a few more things to tweak and whatnot before I bring out the profile. But I also want to try out doing a profile on dev because I know there's some people that IRL deck profiles is what it is, but I wanted to just see how if people prefer like the dev profiles, so you can have the cards up front so you can see them, so I can click and zoom into them, or would you rather have the cards IRL and then maybe editing to put the cards up front? I'm not too sure. I mean, I have everything, but like that's just extra editing. You know what I mean? Dev kind of just does make it a lot of things easier. So without further ado, for Demi-Marimon eggs, this is just the egg that we need to play. Easy. So then we have the Gabumon, 2 Gazi, 2 Lab, 1 Imp, 2 Psych, and 3 Blanc. So the Gazimon and Psychmon really are there just our floodgates. Psychmon I want to talk about first because watching Gaia Force gaming tournaments, Mario's tournaments and whatnot, even our own Drake, even the DMV Drake's tournaments as well that I've been commentating on. We've had Cross 7 do very well across the board, and it seems like people are kind of like recovering from the BT10 hit to Cross 4 to like, okay, let's figure this deck out. What new cards are we getting? How can we use Cross 3? How can we make a deck centered around Cross 7? Because Cross 7 is a powerful card with Z Greymon giving it blocker, naturally has Rush, all the other inheritables that it generally gets. So, that deck's in popularity has been doing pretty well. So I feel like Psychmon is still a valuable card to help control that matchup, but also for Beelstar Mirrors. Beelstar is a deck that's going to definitely probably see some early play again with what we have here, the traditional build, but also with a build featuring Mervamon, which is more of like a swarm build. And, Psychmon is really in there to prevent the Digicross, prevent Beelstar from reducing your cost. And in the mirror match, like especially with the Merva build, since you're going wide, it also prevents Death X from being dropped on you, which is huge because Death X can definitely be a problem for a deck that plays a lot of smaller cards and wants to kind of swarm the board, so to speak. So I feel like 2 Psychmon in here is necessary. Again, after discussing it with my boys from Neverspark and all of them, this card is really strong still. And then the Gazimon's usage may have kind of gone down, but from what I've seen, decks like Bloomlord that still utilize memory and things like that. I'd rather just people not gain memory, especially off the boosts and whatnot. And there are a lot of games in the BT11 format through my testing where I was like, man, I really wish I had a Gazimon on board when I did test him out at 1 copy, but I just wanted to see him more often and, just have that option of getting him to the board. He's, obviously Gazi's been important to me for a long time, so I'm glad to continue. And he's going to get an Altar, which is great too. The one Impmon replaced the Dracmon for me. I felt like the Dracmon play was a 4-memory play. It was fine in a slower-ish format. This format, I kind of want to just go. I wanted my deck to focus on kind of just going, and so with that, the Impmon's just a 3-memory play to ditch 1, get back my Beelstar, and then utilize Beelstar's, be able to play Beelstar for 3 memory as opposed to just doing a 4-memory play to get Calling from Darkness back to then having to use Calling from Darkness to get back to Beelstars, which is more like a 4-memory play. The play is still going to be in there, but I want an Impmon here as a recurable source to be able to do that. Also, in the Merva build, Impmon is actually pretty decent. Not saying you're playing him, but pretty decent. And then the Labramon here, the Labramon and the Sistermon are really just our on-play, either ditch 1, draw 2, or draw 1, trash 1. But Labramon is just here as an extra Digivolve target in the raising area, but also a card that can function as a pseudo Sistermon Blanc. Just in an effort to keep the deck moving, keep the filter going, keep everything moving. So for the level fours, one vial, one promote, vials in there for the defense, just for the, mid to late game defensive nail bone type of plays. Promote usually to finish the game. But then we got 4 scatter mode and 2 Doberman. Now, with Doberman, I cut out the Ogremon. The reason why I cut out the Ogremon in favor of an extra copy of Doberman is because, again, after talking with my boys and whatnot and some testing, Doberman really kind of fits what we want the deck to do as far as kind of going. And again, in this build doesn't have that heavier swarm type of aspect to it. It's more about like, let's throw our weenies out, let's get some chip damage in, let's continue to filter till we can get to our Beelstar and then go from there. Doberman's a card that kind of just can keep going. He dies, you can mill 3, grab the Doberman back out, play him back out again. There are times where you may have 2 rookies on the board, Digivolve into a Doberman, swing, it dies, mill 3, grab Doberman back, Digivolve again, swing, mill 3, get him back again, and you can kind of like do things to where, okay, Doberman can really get my engine going, the same as scatter mode. What scatter mode and Doberman both do is that I'm seeing 3 cards off the top of my deck, and at least for scatter mode, 2 of the 3 cards I see that are going to go to my hand are going to go to the trash, which is great, so I can filter out from the trash. Doberman is, I'm going to put 3 cards in the trash, but you get to grab me back, you get to grab anything else you need back to your hand. So, again, it's just more of an effort to do that, and the Ogremon just felt really kind of slowish a bit. Like, the +1 security, and that's your preference, is perfectly fine, but I just felt like with the way I need to move with this deck in the upcoming meta, Doberman fit the bill a lot more, so I wanted to see it more often. Beelstar, because she's the greatest of all time. Death Xmon. Now, I did test out Defeat. I did do like a 1-1 split and then a 2 Defeat, no Death X thing for Tamer usage, because, you want to get rid of those Yuyas for Blackwood Gray X and whatnot. But Death X came up way more often. Green players are still, kind of like 50-50 on whether they want to do Grandis or Bloomlord. I know I have a lot more Bloomlord players in my area personally as well. But with, and also with the rise of Shoutmon again, with people kind of figuring things out again from the Mario tournaments, the Gaia Force Gaming tournaments, True Champ Gaming tournaments, Drake's tournaments, B4G, all of them. Shoutmon is a deck that's been doing pretty decently across the board, so I felt like Death Xmon is still a very staple type of card that you want to have, at least in this deck. Defeat, I was holding him in my hand too often, and I would rather just see him come out of security if anything else. And unlike Mastamon, like Mastamon, you get to your sixes a lot earlier than this deck does, and so you have an earlier opportunity to get that defeat out of your hand early to pop a Tamer, whereas Beelstar is a little, will come in a lot later in the game than a Mastamon type. So I just felt like Defeat didn't fit Beelstar as well as it does a deck like Mastamon. And Death X is Death X. Now, for the option cards, right? Pretty much it's the same as been: 4 Fly, 4 Cositis, 3 Nailbone, 1 Happy Bullet, 1 Jewalt. But I cut Plasma Decardra to 1 in favor of a copy of Howling Crusher, and the reason is because more times than not, in a deck where in a meta where you're expecting Blackwood Greymon and the kings of the single stack, Melga, Blackwood Greymon X, War Greymon X, Grandis, still to be around in a very heavy amount. The Plasma Decadramon doesn't really get to use his memory reduction cost, so your opponent has to have 2 or more cards on the board. And I just feel like Kosia's Breath is just the better of the 2 because I get to use that at any time and blow anything back. It doesn't have to be restricted to a level 6 or higher or a level 6 or lower. This just gets rid of a problem card when I need it to. Also works very well against Examon as well. The Howling Crusher is in here because for those single seg decks, for the Melgas, for the Black War Greymon X, for War Greymon X, for Grandis, for whatever, I want to be able to blow out their Digivolution sources. One thing is that against decks that have, against the red decks, like War Greymon X, Black Greymon X, they do have those, like, protections and things like that. Having to use multiple option cards in a turn, just to get rid of one card, one problem, really kind of hurts. And so so it's a lot easier just to turn them into a vanilla, or if they hit this insecurity, which is a low chance, but the chance to turn them into, like, some vanillas, getting rid of all the sources on your opponent's field, I think it's really good. And it's a card where I'd rather have it and not need it than to need it and not actually have it. And then, so there's that. And then obviously the Ghost Swarmer and Happy Bullet are there, because they're there. Then the round off, 1 Calling from Darkness, 2 Mist Boost, 2 Death Claw, and 2 Kyoshira. I was testing out a different blue tamer, which is like the 2-cost mat that you can get memory, and that's cool too. I just felt a little bit more safe with having not being choked at 2 or 1, always being set to 3 at the start of my turn, which again allows me to drop a rookie for 3, still keep my turn, drop an Impmon, grab a ditch something, grab a Beelstar, play Beelstar in order to pass memory, if we're not fully set up and whatnot. But it just gives me a little bit more room to where I can do something for not as expensive. Plus, if you're at 3 memory and you're dropping one of your 7 costs, then you're putting them at 1 extra memory than you would just passing your turn and not doing anything. And I think that putting them at 4 memory as opposed to being choked to 1 and putting them to like 6, or I think that's a huge difference in the amount of plays and what they're going to be able to do during their turn. So there is that. But that's the deck profile for Beelstar, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys think. Again, this is something that's going to continue to evolve as we dive deeper into the BT11 format, eventually going into, I think, the Beelstar premium deck and BT12 format and things like that. So remember, this is just a traditional build of Beelstar. If you guys have any tweaks, if you guys have any things that you guys are testing, definitely let me know. But this is what I'm going to start off with for the format, and then as we go on, we're going to build, we're going to improve, we're going to adapt, and we're going to succeed. That's how we do it. All right, Cardfight King, and I'll see you next profile.